There is Pesach is special time, befrat regarding the Gula Asida, the future redemption. You know the famous Maimer Chazal that Rebbe quoted many times, that Benissen Nigalu, Benissen Asidim Li'Gol, the Yidden were redeemed on Nissen. Future redemption will also take place in the month of Nissen. You have a halach in Alt Rebbe Shulchan Aruch. We open up the door by Shvei Chamoscha, right? Why do we open up the door by Shvei Chamoscha? Because everyone will tell you they're opening up the door for Eliyahu Navi to come in. If you look in Alt Rebbe Shulchan Aruch, he says that we open the door to remember that it's Leil Shimurim. The night of Pesach is called Leil Shimurim, the night that Hashem watches us, we're not afraid of anything. And the merit of this Amunah, Mashiach will come, and the Eibusher will pour his wrath on the Goyim. That's why we say Shvei Chamoscha. The Eibusher will pour his wrath on the nations that persecuted the Jewish people. The next halacha that Rebbe writes, that there's some places that have a meaning that we don't lock the doors, where the rooms that people sleep in the night of Pesach. So I'll read the Lashon and translate. Ki uleil shimurim l'chol b'nei Yisrael d'reisim. This is the night. Shimurim means the Eibusher is watching. The night that we're watching. The Eibusher is watching for all the Jewish people, for their future generations. Lo yitziyam migolos says that to take them out from this golos. Vim yavi Eliyahu, if Eliyahu Navi will come, Yimtza Pesach Pasuach will find the door is open, we're ready for him. V'neitzei likrasivim hed will go out towards him quickly. V'anu ma'aminim b'azeh, and we believe in this. V'yesh b'munah zuz chai gadol. This amunah and this faith is a big reward. As the Rebbe says, that some places where there's thieves, you don't have to rely on miracles, you can close the door, or lock them. Then he adds the minig that we pour an extra cup, called the cup of Eliyahu Navi. Now, it's a very powerful thing that this is the night, particularly the night of Pesach, that we hope for the Gula Asida. Now, there's many things to discuss here. There's a lot of pulling here. I'll try to keep it simple and basic. There's a Medrash Rabbah, at the end of Shmois Rabbah, Parsha Yud Ches. Medrash Rabbah speaks about the Leil Shimurim, the night that Hashem watches. And he says that this was the night that many miracles were done. This was the night the Eibusher saved Chizkiyo. We know the story with Sancheiriv. Sancheiriv came with hundreds and thousands of troops to conquer Yerushalayim, and the night of Pesach, the Eibusher killed his whole army. Chanani, Mishal, and Azariah were saved from the fire in the night of Tisha B'Av of Pesach. Daniel was saved from the lion's den the night of Pesach.
Wasn't the same time, same year?
No, Chanani, Mishal, and Azariah was Nebuchadnezzar. Daniel was by Dariyovish.
That same malach that killed the Lazir, he said that he saw him, but Nebuchadnezzar points out the person inside.
I remember they were in the same time, no?
Daniel was in the same time as Chanani, Mishal, and Azariah, but he was not required to bow down to the Tzelem, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
There's the whole thing. But then later, years later, in the times of Dariyovish, the king of Modai, who was the one that took over Nebuchadnezzar, so he threw him into the lion's den.
Nebuchadnezzar was an army of Sancheiriv. He was the only one.
One of the few people.
And Sancheiriv, the only one that survived that night of killing the three people.
Yeah, Uboy Mashiach v'Eliyahu is Gadlin. It says this is the night that Mashiach and Eliyahu will go up, and the other places the Girs is Mizgalin. It's the night they're going to be revealed. Shnemar Amar Shemer Asavokar Gamel. The pasuk says, the Eibusher says, there's a pasuk in Yeshaya. They didn't ask the watchman, they asked the Eibusher, when is Mashiach coming? So he says, Amar Shemer Asavokar Gamel. The morning is coming, and also the night. The point here means, according to some Mefarshim, that the morning represents the light of the redemption, and that will take place on the night of Pesach. Now here there's a medrash which needs to be discussed. I mean, that's an important medrash, an interesting medrash. Mashal Isha Shahoisim Mitzapa L'Baila Shapirish Lamdinas Hayam. That's the medrash brings a mashal for a woman that was waiting for her husband, who went overseas. Yeah, in those days there was no fax, telephones, emails. So he says, Amar Loye Yasim Nazem Mas Biyadcha. So he gave her a certain sign that should be in her hand. It says, Be'esha tiri yoisei simin. He says that when you'll see this sign, the Isha niba, you should know that I'm coming. V'nikarev lavoi, and I'm close to come. So Kach Yisrael mitzapim misham da Edom. That's from the time that Edom, Rome, destroyed the second Beis Hamikdash, the Jewish people are anticipating Mashiach. Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu asim nazayeh biyadchem. Hashem said, this sign should be in your hands. B'yom shasisi lachem tshua. That night that I did for you a salvation by Mitzrayim, b'oisei laila, that same night, you should know that I'll redeem you. Now here there's a few words which need to be discussed. It says, V'im lav al taminu, if not, you shouldn't believe, shalei karvo eis, because the time didn't come close. Shenemar ani Hashem bitachishan, it says, I Hashem, and its time will hasten it. So here you have, some people learn pshat. What's pshat over here? The Eibusher is saying the Mashiach could only come the night of Pesach. It says, V'im lav, if it's not the night of Pesach, don't believe that that's the day of Mashiach. Let's discuss it, 1 second. Shlei Karveis, the time did not come. It says, Ani Hashem bitach hishan. And what's the proof from the Pasuk, Ani Hashem bitach hishan, I Hashem will hasten in its time. So according to some of you have the Eitz Yosef, the Yefei Torah, the way they learn Pshat is that the way they interpret the Medrash should be learning this pasuk, that there's 2 times for Mashiach's coming. There's Be'ita at set time, then there's Achishan, like he comes quickly. But even when it comes quicker, it's still in the night. Be'ita Achishan, I will hasten it in its time. It's still connected to the time. It still has to be in the night of Pesach. That's the way they learn. That's one way of learning this Medrash. Other people clearly learn the Medrash. There's a whole different way of reading the Medrash. You have the Munkachar, the Sefer Shar Yisachar. Not Bnei Yisachar, but he called it Shar Yisachar. The others, he learns this Medrash, he says, no, they're reading it wrong. He says, if Mashiach doesn't come the night of Pesach, Al Taminu Shalei Karva Eis. Don't believe that the time didn't come close. The way other people is, if not, Al Taminu, don't believe the Mashiach is coming. Why? Shalei Karva Eis, because the time didn't come. So he says that's a mistaken way to read it. He says you should read it, and even if he doesn't come the night of Pesach, don't believe that he can't come. That is why, because there's 2 times for Mashiach's coming. There's Be'ita Achishan, there's a set time, and there's a time of Achishan that it could come close. The truth is, it should come quick, which then doesn't have to be any specific time. The truth is that there's others that learn there's really a mimer that some say that it comes from the Tzemach Tzedek. There's a sefer Migdal Lois, and it's, I don't know if it's printed in the Tzemach Tzedek's Maimorim anywhere. Maybe it is. I didn't have a chance to check. It has on page Tov Tzadik Beis, I think he has there a mimer. Some people attribute to the Tzemach Tzedek that he has there a whole kates for the year Tov Reish Lamed Ches. That was 1868. So he writes there, he brings this medrash, he goes, whatever it means, I didn't go through the whole mind, it's not really relevant to our discussion here. What he says is the connection, the cheshbon of Yitzias Mitzrayim on the night of the future redemption, whatever goes through the correlation between the 2 redemptions. But he says that when the medrash says, seems he's reading the words also like the other Mefarshim learned, that if not, don't believe that the time came, but he says that's only... There's 2 times of Mashiach. There's Bita Nachishana. So the time of Bita, the set time, is the night of Pesach. If he doesn't come the night of Pesach, Medrash Tak is saying it's not the time. But it doesn't mean that Mashiach can't come any other days. It's all Sfarim are full of the fact that you have to anticipate Mashiach's coming any day. It means that the time of Bita, the set time, could only be then. Otherwise, it's not the set time. He could come, but it's not. It's not the time of Bita. The Oifen of the Gula Bita is in the night of Nisan, the night of Pesach, particularly. Fine. That's regarding the Medrash. There's another word here which needs clarification, what it means, Begashis of Ruchnius. But the Nezer HaKodesh, the Divrei Yoel speaks a lot about this Medrash a number of times. He also asks the same question. The word Nezer HaKodesh, it's a Yisodistic word. Nezer HaKodesh says a Medrash Rabbah, he discusses the pasuk B'ita Achishana, in its time I will hasten it. So the Gemara says in Sanhedrin that it seems to be a contradiction. Either it's in its time or it's being hastened. So the Gemara says if it's in its time, if they are Zeicha, it's Achishana. If it didn't merit, Mashiach will come quickly before its time. If not, it's in its time. But he says the simple meaning of the pasuk, still the implication, simple meaning of the pasuk is that even in its time, even if I hasten, it'll be in its time. So basically, he explains that everything, every zman, every time down here is, those all depends, a certain spiritual hamshachas, every month is another type of midah of the Eibishter that shines at that time, another spiritual level, and every night, every day. So he says, there's a certain time, a certain level, a certain attribute of the Eibishter which is connected with a particular time, which is the time of redemption. When Mashiach is hastened, it's the same level that's going to be revealed. We say in the Maida, we say, Machlifes HaZamanim. The Eibishter switches around the times. The Eibishter could make that a certain time, a certain attribute of a time, or even a certain physical, whatever, I forgot the word, where the sun and the moon are in the sky, exactly where they are, the Eibishter could move that around if need be, in order that should be the time of the redemption. So Taka is a certain time, the Gashmi is not a clip, there's a certain way the heavenly orbits are supposed to be when Mashiach will come. And there's also a certain spiritual type of midah of the Eibishter which is going to shine, which is connected with the time of the redemption. So that the Eibishter could make any time that Mashiach is ready to come, it will be the same time, it will just be rushed up. The Eibishter will switch it around to make it happen in its right time. Yeah? So this is another way of understanding this. Now, what I wanted to speak about, but it's inyan, you see over here, there's a very strong inyan of the Rebbe says, even though Achakale b'chol yom sheyaveh, but at certain times, the Achakale b'chol yom sheyaveh, anticipating Mashiach, is even stronger. One of them, the Fidik Rebbe writes in Kutei Diburim, I think, describes as a child, when they start preparing the Erev Pesach, after Chatzos, it writes, we get exactly the Lashonos, great hope for the arrival of Mashiach, something, the biggest. Fine, good. Now, a similar discussion is also discussed regarding the Maimer Chazal, that B'nissen Nigalu, B'nissen Asidin Nigal. Nissen they'll be redeemed, B'nissen they were redeemed, they will be redeemed. Here too, the question is asked by a number of Mefarshim, what's going on over here? Mashiach could come any day. Chakalei b'chol yom sheyaveh. Afterward, Mashiach is coming every single day. So what does it mean that Mashiach will come in Nisan or in Tishrei? And I don't want to get stuck with the Pulpulim, but in the Gemara itself, the Gemara discusses in Masech Erev and Daf Mem Gimel, the famous Gemara that a lot of Mefarshim speak about. But if a person says that I'm a Nasa, the day Mashiach will come, the whole Chesh Mashiach could come, whatever it is, the bottom line is that almost any day of the year Mashiach could come. So how does that Gemara fit with the Gemara that says Mashiach will come in Nisan and Tishrei? So here it gets very tricky and complex. One famous answer that Turei Yevon says that it depends, is Bita Nachishena. If Mashiach comes in a set time, that will be in the month of Nisan according to Rabbi Yeshua, or according to Rabbi Eliezer in the month of Tishrei. However, in the Medrash here, Paskins like Rabbi Yeshua. I think the Rebbe once spoke about it, that where the Medrash, when there's a machlokes in the Gemara, but the Medrash says like one opinion, we follow the Medrash. It's Mela B'nissen Asidin Ligoil. We've seen, whatever. The Rebbe in the Kudei Seichus Parshas Azriyat, Chelek Alf, I think the Rebbe speaks about it. There's a Maimer of Achodesh, a few Maimer, fine. So that's one thing. So if Mashiach comes in its set time, Mashiach comes Achishan, it comes in a quick way, come any day of the year. But at set time is Nisan or Tishrei. That is, in other words, the way everything was set up. Everything is delayed until the last moment. Everything has to be punct in the time that it's meant to be. It's according to Rabbi Eliezer, it's Tishrei. According to Rabbi Yeshua, it's Nisan. That's one way. It raises a little bit of problems because Turei Yevon, according to Shita, doesn't have a problem that the other people in Moshel hold that if it's Achishena, Eliyahu Navi doesn't have to come. The whole discussion if Eliyahu Navi has to come before Mashiach or not. Some of the crazy places, the Rebbe mentioned also a number of times that if Mashiach comes before, according to some opinions, if Mashiach comes in the way of Achishan in a speedy way, you don't need Eliyahu Navi to come first. So Mamela, the Gemara in Erevin that speaks about Mashiach coming every day, is speaking there about Eliyahu Navi coming before Mashiach. So according to those that learn that Eliyahu Navi only comes before Mashiach by Be'ito, and that's the set time. So if you put the two together, it comes out that even in that the set time could be any day, not just that Achishena, that when it's in its quick, it can happen any day. Because even if it's quick, if Mashiach will come we're saying a person makes an oath will be a nazir, the day Mashiach comes, he has to be a nazir every day of the year, because Mashiach will come any day of the year. If so, that has nothing to do with Eliyahu Navi. According to those shittas, Turi Yavin doesn't hold exactly like this, but according to those shittas that hold, Eliyahu Navi won't come. In the case of Achishena, so according to them, what is the Gemara discussing when Eliyahu Navi could come? He can't come. So there's another there's a number of ways of explaining this, but I don't want to get stuck in the Vapulim. It gets very complex back and forth. There's another famous answer that's given also in various different ways. The Ben Yayoda says this, the Chassam Sofer also says this, although it's not exactly clear what he holds at the end of the day. So Asemes, I think, says a similar thing. They say that there's two things. It's the coming of Mashiach and the complete redemption. The Chassam Sofer says by Yitzias Mitzrayim also, it was the day that Moshe Rabbeinu appeared to the Yidden and said, Hashem is taking you out. And then there was the night of Tetzvav Nisan, the night of Pesach, was the final time of Makas B'Chodesh, when the firstborns were killed. So he says also, it's brought down in Medrash, he might be referring to the Zohar. There's a Zohar that says, Ki Yod al Keis Ka, it says by Amalek that Hashem's hand is on his throne. That Hashem made an oath on his throne, he's going to get rid of Amalek. So the Zohar says, Yod is Yud Daled. The Zohar says, Yud Daled Nisan will be the final downfall of eradication of Amalek. I don't know if that's what the Chassam Sofer is referring to. It could be. So he says, so Mashiach will come before, but there will be a certain nekuda, a certain point of redemption in a certain way which is associated with the night of Pesach. It's not a contradiction. The Ben Yayoda also, he explains, also says a similar thing. He says there's the Geula means, when we say B'Nisan Nigalu, he says it's Kibbutz Golius. Says the Gemara in Eidavin, Bar Eliyahu, that Mashiach will come any day. Speaking about Mashiach being victorious in his wars, even though Mashiach Hakal Avadim Hein Yisrael, the Gemara says it, that Mashiach is obviously talking about Mashiach coming in a way that all the nations are subdued, but it doesn't yet mean that all the Yidden were brought to Eretz Yisrael. So he says, so Mashiach could come. When will be the final Geula, in the sense that there'll be Kibbutz Goli, same when didn't left Mitzrayim. There was a number of stages already from Rosh Hashanah that they stopped working for Pari. It was by Tetzvav Nisan they left Mitzrayim. When will be the Kibbutz Goli, so all Yidden will gather together and go to Eretz Yisrael, will be the final stage of that, whatever will be Tetzvav Nisan. So the B'chal Narastiri, he says Mashiach could come any day. We're talking about the Geula, we're talking about a particular stage which is called the complete Geula. So that's another way of understanding the difference between.
I don't think you don't find the sixth the Rebbe that should get us this kind of truth. There's the Shlavim of there's a Shlav, before not that between getting jetzt mit Mashiach rein and then catch Hashem.
The Rebbe was 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Yad Heini Golan.
There was no concept of
there's another two Nekudas here. There's another two Nekudas here. It's very fascinating. But first of all, if you look in the Targum Yerushalmi and the Pasuk in Parshas Bo Leil Shimurim, he says there's 4 nights that Eibusher had. One night was the night of creation. The other night was the night of Bris Ben Absarim. Third night was when he took the Naram Simon. He says the fourth night when Mashiach will come. It says Moshe will come from the Midbar, and Mashiach will come from Rome. Each one will go in a cloud, and that will be. It seems he's implying Kibbutz Goliath a little bit. Not saying whatever you're going to learn Pshat is going to happen in 2 separate stages or not. But Yepes uses Moshe will come from the Midbar. I guess he'll be bringing the Doid HaMidbar. And you look in the Talmud Targum Yerushalmi, Targum Yerushalmi is a little bit differently. There's another thing that the Radak in Yecheskel on the pasuk Leil Shimurim Hula Hashem, right at the end, towards the end of Parshas Bo. The Radak, it is in Yecheskel, Kapitel Memhei, I think, it discusses there the karbonos that will be brought by the dedication of the third Beis Hamikdash in the month of Nisan. So the Radak says there right in the beginning, he says that when we say that Yidden will be redeemed in Nisan, doesn't mean Mashiach has to come in Nisan. Mashiach will come before. The Beis Hamikdash will be built, and Nisan dedicated to Nisan. That's, in other words, the stage of the Gula will take place by Nisan. Whatever, yeah, I mean, the truth, whatever, there's a lot of Ramazan, whatever, I don't want to, the truth is, you can look in, if you want to look, we look in Moshe Mashiach Ba'alacha, Chelik Beis Siman Vav, he goes through a lot of this, not everything, but fine, he goes through a lot of the different things, Tishrei, and this, and the different opinions here. There's one thing I wanted to speak, is regarding this halacha. We'll leave the door open, say Eliyahu Navi could come. What is Eliyahu Navi coming for? What are we hoping Eliyahu Navi is coming for in the night of Pesach? Says Pashas, what he had Shat, the Eliyahu Navi at Loz and Vistas Mashiach is coming, right? So when 1 second. So when is Mashiach coming according to this halacha? 10 minutes later. So we understand. The way it's usually said is Eliyahu Navi will come before Mashiach comes. Stop. Another thing another thing here, B'chlal doesn't want to be ma'ayin.
The way we have now could be a few seconds before.
Don't ask any questions.
Doesn't Eliyahu Navi come by the Brit?
He comes not a neshama beguf. That's something. He comes as a neshama, not as a guf. You have a halacha. The Alter Rebbe writes, it's brought down in halacha, just showing you how much is important. He says that where's the halacha that on Motzei Shabbos supposed to mention Eliyahu Navi? Huh? It's brought down in halacha.
They have in the Siddur,
They say.
Alter Rebbe writes similar to Tzaddik that the minig is mentioned Eliyahu Navi Moshe Shabbos after Avdol to davening should come and tell us Mashiach is coming. Was the Gemara said Eliyahu Navi doesn't come on Erev Shabbos because he didn't take away the Yidden from preparing for Shabbos. He also doesn't come on Shabbos because the issue with traveling above a certain distance. So once Shabbos comes, the first opportunity Mashiach would come, we daven that he should come. This time also shows us how much is important that Mashiach should, the first second that halacha, what so to say, allows Mashiach to come, should daven for Mashiach. Now over here, people ask, hold on a second. If Eliyahu Navi can't come on Erev Shabbos, or at Erev Yom Tov also, so how's he coming? How's Mashiach coming on the night of Pesach? These two halachas really are a contradiction. If you look into the Gemara says Eliyahu Navi can't come out of Shabbos. Also holds that Mashiach, he can't. If Eliyahu Navi doesn't come out of Shabbos, Mashiach can't come on Shabbos or Yom Tov. So the Chasam Sofer speaks a little bit about this. Minchas Elazar has the Shuvah similar Amadei. Go whatever. It's another day that they bring that this halacha that Eliyahu Navi can't come out of Shabbos is lav dafka accepted lahalacha. It's another daya from this fact that we're waiting for Mashiach to come out of Pesach. Whatever, I don't want to get into it. But what's Pshatov? I just finish off with one word. Pshatov is you learn that Eliyahu Navi is coming and tell us Mashiach is coming. Okay, but I think there's more than that. Again, this is my own 2 cents. You could argue with me, but I think the word is Eliyahu Navi is coming to take us out of Galus. What's Pshat? The Neitzei Likrasi. We'll go out towards him. What does it mean we'll go? The Alter Rebbe says, if Eliyahu Navi comes, we'll find the open door. If he's just coming to, usually in the Gemara, Midrashim, Eliyahu Navi comes before Mashiach comes to tell us that he's coming. That's what we're talking about here. What's probably V'neitzei Likrasi, when you go out towards him. Or just tell him hello and go back to sleep. So there is a concept which is brought down that even after Mashiach comes, Eliyahu Navi, it says Eliyahu Navi could fly through the whole world. What was it? Mechol Ba'achas. So Eliyahu in 4 jumps and 4 flights, he's over the whole world. So he could go through the whole world and tell everyone Mashiach is coming. That is true. But I think, I'm saying, what Pshat V'neitzei Likrasi? I think Pshat is more than that. V'neitzei Likrasi means Kibbutz Galus. He'll take us out of Galus. We'll go towards him. He'll take us there. Yeah, again, could be I'm wrong. What's Taich V'neitzei Likrasi b'meida? We'll go out towards him. Go out towards him to what? If the door will be open and we'll quickly go out towards him to what? To hear his Besura, he's going to lead us to the Gula.
To Mashiach, to the Geula.
I'm just food for thought. What's Taich Neitzei Likrasi? We'll go out towards him.
With him. Towards him, with him.
We're going towards him to go along with him. Mashiach is the one that does Kibbutz Galus. I already discussed a while back. If you look, I think the pasuk Shav Hashem Lekach Hashvuscha. Look also there in the Targum Menasam in Uzil. I think it says that Eliyahu Navi and Mashiach will be involved in Kibbutz Galus. It'll be a dual process. Exactly how it works, You see also in the Targum Yerushalmi that Moshe will come, Mashiach will come, they go together.
A president and a vice president.
Whatever, so in other words,
A kohen and a sgan.
in other words, if you look, it comes out like this. It comes out that Eliyahu, according to, if you put everything together, if Mashiach comes the night of Pesach, means he came out of Pesach. So the Beis Nagadol and Tverei, or whatever it is, Eliyahu doesn't have to come to tell Mashiach is coming. Everyone says he has to go to the Beis Nagadol Sanhedrin, and then on the night of Pesach, he goes to the house of every Jew to take him out of Golus. I'm just discussing what would be pshat over here in this thing. But anyway, I wanted to finish off.
There's a little howdah. Looks like cannot come erev Pesach. How could it be in this house, this house, this house, this house?
That's a shayla of Eliyahu. He had said the Medrash says that he's tos b'cholan. But just finish off. The Rebbe speaks also a little bit about what does it mean Nisan suddenly go. Mashiach could only come in the month of Nisan. So one of the answers I believe the Rebbe gives is the whole Maimon Chodesh Tav Shlam B'Tei and other places. Yeah. Right. So the Rebbe explained, I don't have time to get into it, the Rebbe says that when it says Mashiach will come in Nisan, means that there's two ways Mashiach will come. Either comes in Tishrei, which means Tishrei represents the Avodah V'Yid, or Nisan represents the Avodah that comes from the Eibusher. So the halacha that Nisan suddenly go means that Gula will come inside the Eibusher. We also pass on the Din will do Tshuva, the Gula will come in the Avodah V'Yid. But the Rebbe says, yes, whatever, but I don't have time to get into it, that even the Tshuva the Yidden will do is not coming with their own koyach. It's coming from the koyach of some places the Rebbe is madgish, other places the Rebbe is clearly madgish that the Tshuva the Yidden will do. You look in Kudei Sichas Chelach of Zayim B'chul Koisai, that it's a Tshuva that they do, it comes from them. The Tshuva relates to them. But nevertheless, that also comes with Mile. If you really want to, there's a mime of the Mittel Rebbe, beginning of the Mamar Admon the Varim Chelak Alpha Tatzar Smoyev. There he goes back and forth. Rebbe Lezer, Rebbe Yeshua comes with Mile, not one Mile. Even when it comes with Mile, it comes Tzadidin. Rebbe discusses that also a little bit. Fine. Take care of the take it from me at Mamish.